Autie views Autie Meteor Part 201 in a different key. I was really disappointed by this documentary. I remember liking the book when I read it some years ago and feeling like it opened the world of neurodiversity affirming autism history for me, though my barometer for ableism was very different at the time, so perhaps what is frustrating about this film carries over into the book and I just didn't pick it up then. But the idea of the documentary is to tell you the history and present day of autism, centered around Donald Triplett, the first person to be formally diagnosed with autism, and what his day-to-day looks like and looked like. He seems like he was the sweetest old man, and it was a real honor to get to see him in this film, and to some extent it hits all the right points of what I would put in an autism history documentary, but it framed all of that through the lens of a parent to an autistic kid, not through an actual autistic person. And a lot of the things said were in the realm of, if you mean that one way, that's awesome, and if you mean that in a different way, that's actually really ableist, and I can't tell which direction you mean it in. The narrative also clearly prioritized telling stories and lived experiences, and assumed that at face value was fine because it was factually true, without realizing that those things sometimes need to be filtered and curated in a certain way so that they do not cause further harm, especially when framing an autistic parent alongside an actual autistic scholar who is an expert, as if they both carry the same amount of knowledge and weight on a topic, which is just simply not the case. There was specifically one section around the halfway mark that really lost me, where one parent talked about how an autism diagnosis is too broad a category and no longer holds meaning, and so it should be divided into subsections, which is just not backed by any factual information at all whatsoever. The whole film just felt vaguely tokenistic and lightly uneducated, and like they were trying to be progressive but gave up when they got about 60% of the way there, with autistic people involved in the film almost as show ponies rather than people themselves. The kind of thing like your mother would email you because she saw it on PBS and thought it was really affirming for people like you, but you yourself watch it and kind of want to crawl out of your skin, which is unfortunate, particularly because all of this footage of Donald is really important and cannot be found anywhere else, and there were some pieces of this that I haven't seen in other research or documentaries, but that unfortunately does not cancel out the everything else about it.